trying hard to be someone else. All we want is please. Giving no time to breathe. This is our identity. Summer sky, we can't help it, we're by your side. In the end, when the winter comes, we turn our backs, we can't help, we're gone. This is our identity. Show. open eye, feel the waves cut through me, hypnotized by the sounds I'm breathing in. Hold tight, chemicals collide. Hold tight, hold tight, hold tight. Dripping lights paint the skies, all because of you. Dripping lights paint the skies, only you can make me move. You can make me move. Can make me move. You can make me move. Can make me. So alive, make it last forever. Stop in time, yeah, I'm surrendering. Hold tight, chemicals collide. Hold tight, hold tight, hold tight. Dripping lights paint the skies, all because of you. Dripping lights paint the skies, only you can make me move. You can make me move. Can make me move. Can make me move. You can make me move. Can make me.
All right, I'm going.
So I go. Inevitably.
Coward, may you die with your eyes closed.
I do not rest. I'll come back stronger.
More of a dog person, huh?
It's over when I say.
hard to be someone else. All we want is please. Giving us, giving no time to breathe. This is our identity. Somber sky, we can't help it, we're by your side. In the end, when the winter comes, we turn our backs, we can't help, we're gone. This is our identity. Show.
Hello and welcome back. We're going to go ahead and switch over to our transition over to our League of Legends client here. It looks like we had a short little hiccup while we're getting started. I go ahead and pause the game for us as we move in. So we'll see if there's any level 1 shenanigans here. It looks like PGR now has to buy his items. He was the one that disconnected. He had a system error on his computer. It looks like it's going to be a typical 5-point from both sides. Everyone just going to an entrance of the jungle. Looks like nothing too fancy. Looks like Stallion is actually taking the phase rush here. We're not going to see any fancy Dark Graves tech here with a Fleet Footwork Ignite. A little disappointed. I was really excited to see how that comes into action as a jungler myself. I was looking forward to learn a few things, and hopefully we can learn a few things here today on the stream. Looks like standard wards in back for both junglers. They're going to pick up a sweeper, maybe apply some of this early pressure. Earlier on here in this draft, it does look like this Lucian has taken a corrupting potion, so he's really looking to run this lane down. We're going to have Graves start on this red buff here and clear his way down, probably just looking to do a full clear. As we mentioned before, they're not really looking to be fighting and skirmishing a lot here in this early game. Both sides really just want to farm up. Nothing really special. It really is about this top lane matchup, and here we see the Celia actually is invading, but we have the Syndra heading over and Graves responding as well. It was worded they didn't clear up this ward, so we'll see if they're going to fight for these Raptors. No one's taking the big one yet, but the Graves has gotten enough small ones that even if they take this Raptor camp, it's not going to hit level 2. So they're just going to keep harassing them and push out the Graves. Alright, Lily does hit level 2 here. They're going through. The Syndra is actually, and Galio is missing a lot of the farm, but they do push the Graves out over to his bot side of the jungle, and this Lilia is going to take all this topside camp. That allows them to put much more pressure onto this Ornn than they would have before. Again, we're just seeing a little bit of this farming bot lane. They'll poke back and forth. Stevenator does have a lot of this, mid lane control in this Galio. Without the smite, this Lilia is actually pretty hard to take some of these other camps. Probably scared of this Grace coming through, so really trying to keep it into this bush and not able to kite it as effectively as they would like. We do see Motion going for a little bit of an early trade here into this Ornn. Exactly what we want to see. We want to see him really start pushing this Ornn across the map. And we have the Graves here, Stallion invading on this red buff. We're going to see if, oh yeah, Travis can catch this, but he's actually placed a ward so they know exactly where he is. See they were engaging onto the Syndra. A huge amount of damage, actually. And this Graves has been spotted, but we have Thrash coming over here. He's actually smited away, so we'll see if they come through. Might be a little bit more of a skirmish. Indigo and Brash are here way before PJR and life support, so really just fighting over some of these smaller camps after he's taken away the red buff. Again, just putting down some hurt here. Stevenator go for an aggressive trade. Really dominating some of this matchup here early on. Really what you want to see from Stevenator in some of these matchups. You want to be able to push out some of these waves. Abuse Keyboarder here in this matchup so he can get some of the push priority. And he's just going to go in on him again. Gusts of War just doing a good amount of damage, but really that Justice Punch just really coming through. He's timing out these Syndra's abilities to where he can trade really effectively. I know this is something he's been working on fairly heavily. We were just in a call together, a few of the people from Aquinas, and he's been a little hard on himself, just practicing some of these one-on-ones, and really wants to dominate some of these matchups, and he's been doing a great job in these trainings. So I'm really excited to see him pull out this stuff. He actually has Keyboarder have to teleport here with really not a lot going on. Oh yeah, really invading and trying to push this Graves around, but really has yet to touch the top side of the jungle, which could give him a lot of experience. Obviously, going after that second camp of Raptors is kind of the most important camp on the board because it's already leveled up and has increased XP value compared to every other camp. So really trying to maximize some of these clearing speeds. But the Graves has pulled ahead 25 CS to this Lilia's 16. Is finally going to be able to do this blue buff and able to leash it over to this Gromp and maybe catch up a little bit on the CS. In the top lane matchup though, it is really only 29 to 26, and Giga looks to be freezing up this wave on the top side. So it will push up eventually. We'll see what he's able to do. He might get stuck up here. He's probably looking for a back. If he really needs to. The thing that is a little surprising, he actually took, Grasp of the Undying up in this top lane matchup against Illusion, who he's not really going to be able to touch. So it might have been a little bit better to take Spellbook here, try and get some other pressure going on. It does look like this is kind of frozen, but Graves actually just cleared this, so he's not really, Motion isn't really in any danger of getting ganked. They do have somewhat of a deep board over on this red buff, but it's not going to be able to see him if he goes onto these Krugs. A nice, W lands from the Senna, just poking out some of these matchups in the bot lane, but really just farming around. Graves might actually be looking to start this dragon. He does have his Skirmisher's Saber here, and he does have a longsword, so he has a decent amount of damage. However, Cloud Drake is one of the most annoying Drakes to take. Drakes do a percentage of your maximum health, and Cloud Drake attacks at the speed of light. This thing will whip you down. So it looks like he doesn't really want to do it. He knows that Galio is able to move first across this Syndra with the Predator here. So they won't really be able to match that priority, especially since the Lilia can speed across the map. Now, both of these top laners have both hit 6, so we'll see what they do with some of this top lane priority, but really looks like they're going to be playing for Drakes, which they can do. I mean, they have the Galio here with this matchup. It looks like they've gotten very low from the damage of this Drake. They need this Galio here. Comes over top, let's see. Blue team has secured it. They actually take down the Graves for first blood. Huge stun by the Syndra. Lined up, and another ult from the Ornn off of the TP. We didn't even see him coming from the back end. And he catches the Galio, so he picks up a kill. That's huge for Akuma. Even though Aquinas does get the dragon, they just win that team fight hands down. 3 kills to 1 here across the board. They really only took down Stallion, which is good for the Drake, but this Syndra picks up 2 kills off of a massive stun, and this Ornn is able, to push some of his team fight presence, because Motion really hasn't been able to get too much done across this. It looks like he's going to go for a Manamune build, really, pushing a little bit of that scaling. They're going to hit very hard on the mid game. They're going to have Ezreal and Lucian on Manamune, pushing it very, very fast. And we'll see what Motion can do with a little bit of a CS lead against an Ornn who's already gotten a big impact across the map. We're going to hit a little bit of more of these team fights. I would say both of these teams don't look to be heavily skirmishing besides the Lilia and the Graves. That's something that you really want to do to get the most out of the Lilia, constantly being the enemy team's jungle, making it difficult because it's hard to lock them down. Graves doesn't really have any way to lock down the Lilia, so she really wants to be taking away some of these camps. The Justice Punch onto this keyboard was trying to get out. Actually just taunts it and is able to walk away. Very nice job by Stevenator in some of that situation. A lot of these people are just going to be clearing out wards, get some vision. You have Rift open, but Senna, Ezreal are really looking to kind of just stay in their lanes. None of them are really going to be doing a huge amount of teamfight pressure until they hit 6. And Senna and Ezreal both have long-range ultimates, so they're able to just ult all the way across the map. So if anyone goes for the Rift Herald, they can stay in lane, get that farm, get that experience, and then just ult all the way across the map to try and impact this. PJR goes into a little bit of a fight here. Stevenator getting caught a little bit in this jungle. Not sure if 00 PJR wanted to ult the Senna there, or was just trying to get the wave. Either way, they're playing up this very aggressively, but really the only objective available is this Rift Trail. So a lot of the focus here is just farming, getting your CS numbers up. Just wait for your big power spikes to come through. Another scout of the week just finds Stevenator here in this mid lane. Motion trying to poke this down. Not sure if Manamune is the way to go in this situation. Might have been better to go Blade of the Ruined King, but I don't play a lot of top lane Lucian, so who knows? Maybe this is the correct build here. I know it's really good for the mid lane. We do see Essence reverse second here. We'll see what he can get done. 00 being tagged by that stun. They're trying to turn onto Brash, who just jumps away. Ooh, just barely misses the Eclipse here on that Leona. And that could have been a huge play from life support. And oh yeah, we're able to turn that around with PJR. excuse me, I have a little bit of cough here doing some solo streaming, but again, we're really just waiting for some of these other objectives to come up here. Let me actually bring them up. Objective towers. Oh, all the way up in the corner. I'm used to watching some of the other streams where they have them up on the top. But we have, Drake coming up in 1 minute here. We have Stallion pushing up through this jungle. Motion with an excellent trade right here onto Giga. But really just trying to push him out, see if he can really move. Really surprised that hasn't really been up to this top lane and really trying to push this Ornn early. I think a lot of the window of opportunities already kind of left. He already has picked up, that kill and assist, and I think they really needed to abuse that matchup, in the first 10 minutes, already 10:46, and they've, the CS is equalized. He's already had a huge impact on the map, getting other teammates ahead. We'll see what Motion can do with a lot of this plate money. We do finally coming up to the top side. This is going to be huge. He actually is going to stun him out of the ultimate there. Almost brings him down, but Stallion here on the back end just pushing them away. Good roam by Stevenator, looking for a bit of a play. Kind of hard to use some of that Galio ultimate pressure with a Lucian and Lilia, as they don't really want to get into people's face. They want to stay, a little bit of a mid-range. Lilia darting in and out of fights with her Q passive. However, he does have that ultimate for another Drake fight, so we'll see what they choose to do. We do have Manamune completed for this Ezreal, and Motion has TP, so he's probably looking to push out this wave. And he can head up topside and then teleport to a play on the bottom side of the map when they choose to do so. Both teams not really looking for this this Drake here as it spawns. Both junglers kind of just soaking up experience. I believe Stallion will start heading towards the bot side of this map here. They do have a good control ward in the tri-bush here on the bot side of the river. So they already have quite a lot of vision set up already. Most of Aquinas' vision is set up on the bottom side, on the top side river, and they only have one ward in the bot tri-bush, which isn't really going to be doing anything. You see Keyboarder moving into the jungle and probably stealing away these raptors. Or actually see Stevenator coming through and moves away, but he does put another deep ward onto the raptors, so Akuma's going to be seeing a lot of the team coming here. We have Giga waiting on his TP. He's just hanging out in the alcove. He knows that he's going to be more impactful in these team fights than anything else, so he was just waiting to see whether Motion showed on the top side. As a Scatter of the Week does find Stevenator. She actually gets caught in this phase rush though, and a huge trade by Stevenator into that mid lane. That can make a huge difference if life support is able to get on there. Ooh, oh yeah, being caught out here. Ooh, big ultimates coming over from Akuma. We have Stevenator, being chunked out is here. Oh yeah, needed to flash. Some of that initial damage. That Scatter of the Week coming from the Fog of War from that bush just stuns him up and just does an excellent job of locking them down and blowing up this Lilia before she can even move. A great railgun from that Senna coming through as well, and a great ultimate from Brash here on this Braum. Using it right as the Galio comes in, knocking him up and immunizing himself from that CC. Not a lot going done from the other side, though. We have NA Life Support actually going onto this Braum, knowing they have no ultimates, landing the Eclipse here onto the Senna, but she cleanses. Let's see if PJR can, 00 can get out some of this damage. They're stoning up this Brash, but like I said, they're just kind of waiting for some of these things. And we have Stallion coming out from the side. Multiple flashes coming out from both sides, trying to get a little bit of damage down, getting some, root over here. NA Life Support has to flash away from the Graves Q. So we have Stevenator predating across the map, doing his little chicken walk all the way down the river, doing what he can. But really, nothing comes out of this. Just a bunch of flashes thrown. You have cleanse down for the Senna. So if Stevenator and can really pressure some of this bot side, set up a fight, there's nothing that the Senna can do. She can't really get out of these fights without the flash, without the cleanse. She has Glacial Augment to keep him at a distance, but with this Predator on Galio, I think you can just run them down, especially with the Leona coming through if she can land a really good Zenith Blade. We do have, here in the jungle, the Brash is coming. Ooh. Gets a little bit of damage onto Stevenator. I think he's definitely fine. We definitely need another auto attack here. We have this Sunfire Cape completed for this Ornn. So he's in a very good, comfortable spot right here. compared to Motion, who only has the Manamune available, and he does have Berserker Graves. That does, you know, make a difference, especially when you're trying to stack up the Manamune passive. But it's really not going to be doing anything into this Horn at this point. Once again, we're back at a little bit of a farming state here. We have Brash, you know, he wants to clear out some wards. We have Double Zero and Indigo just trying to farm up, get some gold in their pockets. At this point, Motion has actually, you know, fallen a little bit behind by 1 CS into this matchup as a Scatter of the Weak finds Stevenator. And an Ornn ultimate comes through on the top side onto Motion. He flashes, but he's not going to be able to get out of that. And the Railgun from Senna just comes in just in case. A little bit of shield over top, so you're not going to take any tower damage. But this is looking very dire from the top lane of Aquinas. Giga getting some good damage onto the top lane turret here. And really getting a lot of work done on this Ornn. Good play coming out of the Akuma. It is only 1-6 and 1 dragon apiece, and no towers have really gone down yet, but both mid lane and top lane are very weak at this point. I think if we can get, you know, Stevenator a little more involved, get that ultimate into it, we really need to see NA life support. Ooh, PGR just hits that blast cone. It comes through a big ultimate coming out from here. Let's see if Zero can finish it up. They can't do it. They both limp away. Double TP from Giga and from Keyboarder. Finds a huge Scatter of the Weak again onto Double Zero. Zenith Blade onto the Senna here. Gets stunned up. Is not able to do anything. And Akuma just turns that fight around with the double TP. We have Motion still in this top lane with TP. Looks like he doesn't want to be joining some of these fights. He's going to be going for that First Blood turret instead. As, you know, Stallion and Keyboarder collapse onto this mid lane against, and Stevenator. Looks like they're going to get that turret first with the Rift Herald. At this point of the game, unlocking this second tiered tower is really, really good for Akuma. They can get this Galio stuck into this mid lane, and Stallion and Keyboard can really start taking over some of these jungle. You know, they can start moving in, getting deeper wards, you know, spotting out this Lilia and pushing some more of their advantage. Stevenator was doing really well in this mid lane matchup, and then Keyboarder comes out and he finds, you know, huge forces of will in these team fights and able to pick up quite a few kills here, and is now comfortably ahead onto this Syndra. Third Drake is about to spawn. It's Ocean Drake here. I forgot to mention that Ocean Drake soul is going to be huge for both sides, as they do have heavy teamfight compositions. Other than this Lucian, or if they can kite these fights effectively, he can be huge. As soon as they hit some of these item power spikes. We do have Stallion picking up that Drake, putting them over a Drake ahead, but it is going to be at least another 10 minutes until either side has a soul. So it's not going to be huge on that side. It is, you know, it's going to be 28 minutes in the game by the time they can finally get that soul, so you can get those 2-3 items onto this Ezreal, those 2-3 items on this Lucian. Ooh, Goops just barely misses. They're still going to be looking for it. Goes onto this Senna, stunning up another cleanse here. Good ultimate from, oh yeah, takes down Indigo here in this matchup. They're trying to poke for this Brash. She flashes, double kill for, oh yeah, but it gets taken down by Brash as they're collapsing onto this top lane. Motion looking in a bad spot here. They are going to be TPing. Can't get away from, you know, the Searing Charge and Scatter of the Weak. So top lane, I mean, TP by Stevenator, not really going to be doing much for him in that aspect. As they get this top lane turret, really just have to give good, you know, good credit to Giga here on this. Ornn is actually ahead on CS, has made some huge plays in that team fight, especially that first Drake, putting his team really far ahead in the team fight capacity, getting 3 kills for the rest of his squad and a few assists, and is pulled up on CS against this Lucian, which, you know, is what Motion had chose into the Ornn, and really hasn't been able to get too much done. So I think it's going to be very difficult for Aquinas to find some good play here based on the picks they've chosen. Lucian and Lilia are really just great skirmishing early here, but, you know, we're 20 minutes in the game, and really you're 0-2 on Lucian, and it's going to be very difficult for him to have a big impact as this game goes on, especially as this Ornn has already completed one of his masterwork items, and once he hits this next level, he's going to be able to hand out some of these other items too. That's why we might have seen this Yomu's Dustblade completed for this Graves, and now he can upgrade that into a, you know, an ornament and get a huge power spike here in the mid game. I think we really are just waiting for a few different item spikes. It's kind of difficult for either of these teams to really engage effectively without this Ornn. Look, Stevenator making me bite my words here as Brash is getting caught out. Ooh. Oh yeah, gets taken down by Brash as he goes out. Good stopwatch from Stevenator, but I think he's just as dead at this point. Actually flashes away. Indigo and Keyboarder can't secure that kill. Great play from Stevenator there. Able to pull, you know, a little bit of a playoff. We'll see if that's worth it. You know, support for jungler very rarely is. But PJR feeling very confident on this. Ezreal nails this Graves multiple times with, you know, the Mystic Shot and a few different things. Ult. Ooh, and Stallion just barely dashes away from that Ezreal ultimate. He's able to survive for just a bit longer. But we are starting to see a few of these item spikes come through. We do have the Mirror Mana completed for the Ezreal, so all of his attacks are going to be doing bonus damage. The Iceborne Gauntlet gives him a little bit more boost, is making more survivability against Stallion, against Indigo, and we'll see what this third item is picked up. Leandri is completed for Lilia, so she's feeling very confident in her damage, and if you get people low, you can burn them pretty much from a quarter health to dead. But does have Phase Rush, so it doesn't have Dark Harvest, which we see some Lilias take, and that can really pop off. Is doing quite well in some of these farmings across the different matchups. I mean, PGR pulling a comfortable CS lead ahead of Indigo here in the bot lane, but across the map, it's fairly even. Some of the lanes you would want to be winning, like the top lane, isn't quite ahead here, but does have the Essence Reaver, so hopefully we're going to be seeing some pop-off plays come from Motion as the game goes on. Stevenator, you know, just running across mid lane here just to secure some more farm. We do have the next Drake coming up here in 30 seconds. We see Aquinas looking to group together and establish some vision. However, Akuma is already here as a squad, using some of Senna's ability here to come in and clear out some of the vision. As, oh yeah, actually flashes across, comes onto Keyboarder, finds her, going to be trying to take her down as Motion TP's in, but they're able to go off. But that is a huge summoner down for Syndra, as Giga finding, you know, the Leona here, but I think this might be a good spot for Aquinas. They still have quite a few abilities up to try and engage some fights. Stevenator kind of comes up. Big ultimate from Leona. He gets pushed away by the force of will. You see Motion putting down a huge amount of damage. Stevenator trying to get in there. The fight gets taken down. Oh yeah, is in the middle of 3. Gets taken down by Stallion again. Finally, the Leona finds a good Zenith Blade. PGR popping off of some of these. He's going to be finding just one last auto attack onto Stallion. Gets the shutdown onto Stallion. And finding Keyboarder here into the bush. Flashes in to try and secure that kill, but takes down every single member. Giga, the only one left standing after that huge fight from Aquinas Esports. Great job by PJR, just finding a lot of that damage. Stevenator throwing himself against this team, trying to find big opportunities. Same thing with, you know, life support, getting good Zenith Blades, good ultimates, and they're able to turn that fight around. That's exactly what we wanted to see out of Aquinas Esports, just finally getting some of those mid-game power spikes. As we move across, you know, that's a huge sum of gold. You saw, you know, that 700 gold pop up as soon as PJR took down Keyboarder, and now they're only a little bit less than 3k behind, so that can be huge in the terms. We'll see when people come out of base what items they can pick up. Does look like this Lilia is going to be going more for a Deadman's Plate, you know, move around quite fast. It makes it harder for her to be locked down. Already has enough damage in her kit with the Leandri, so it doesn't really need to itemize more AP. However, both sides are going to be losing some crucial summoner spells, right? Ooh, actually, aggressive TP from Stevenator. It's like they're really trying to find some of these fights. Brash is stunned up, is almost taken down, trying to go out, actually flashes away. So now no one, except for Indigo, has Flash in this game at this point in time. Stevenator's Flash is up here soon. Keyboarders is halfway there. 00 taking a little bit more damage, staying out on the map quite a bit after that team fight, so he's going to take over Raptors, and he probably almost has his death stance, or I guess you can go Blade of the Ruined King at this point. We'll see. I mean, he does have Coldfield's Lawhanger, Warhammer, excuse me, usually. I saw, just a long sword in there before. We do have the next Drake coming up, in 3 minutes. This one's going to be very crucial. This next Drake, this could honestly decide some of the game, right? Because it's going to be, 29 minutes into the game. Both sides are going to have 3 items at each. That's going to put you on soul point. So whoever wins this next team fight can very well win the game. They can go for Baron. They're at soul point, so they can always threaten if something goes wrong or if they lose a fight. They can always threaten getting that Ocean Soul with 3 Ocean Drakes. This isn't just 2 Ocean Drakes. This isn't just 2 Ocean Drakes. After getting the first 2 Drakes, where it's only going to heal you, for a measly amount of percentage up. This is 3. And then you also have the soul on top of it. So every few seconds, you're healing an immense amount of health, which is really great on this Lilia, really great on this Ezreal, who has completed the death stance, is so tanky at this point. With armor, we'll see if maybe they pick up, maybe a little bit of magic resist. I would like to see Mercurial Scimitar as NA life support. Might be caught out right here. Actually gets tagged by the Senate W. Brash is up here. Oh yeah, misses, but Galio ult coming through. Is able to save him. A good ultimate by 00. Able to push them away. Good save by Aquinas Esports over on this. And not a lot of cooldowns really wasted. I mean, they don't really have to fight for another 2 minutes if they don't want to. This is really just establishing vision. A fight right here is not going to be too great for either side as Motion is going to be tagged by this Ornn ultimate, but they can't find him as he goes right, and the Ornn ultimate goes down. So they just take away this red buff. That's a smart move from Aquinas, not really trying to find a fight here. They don't need to. That's how you're going to be throwing games of fighting over things that don't really matter. I mean, you get some gold maybe if you win the fight, but there's nothing to fight over. You're not in terms of being able to pressure any turrets at this point. Both mid waves are even. They're not pushing out. You don't have any waves pushing from either side. So really, you just want to wait for this next Drake to come up in a minute. We might see a little skirmish over vision here on the bot side of the map. Is getting tri-bush control is very important, or the pixel bush. As they're setting up a few more things, waiting for another level here on Stevenator to hit 16. Ultimate will be up, a little more available. Also, they do have some good item power spikes, right, from both sides. You have both Masterwork items completed for this Ornn. The Infernal Mask and the upgraded version of Sunfire Cape. And it looks like he's going to be cleaning a second. This next item is going to be a locket. He already has the Thorn Mail to stop people from healing up, which is going to be really good considering it's Ocean Soul. His NA life support looks for Brash here. Stevenator also on the side, going all in on Brash. Actually, he's able to jump away. Cleansed by this Senna. Has to flash away. Big ultimate from, Stevenator coming through, getting down with the damage. Motion throwing out a Coaling as Giga is getting picked on the other side, and Keyboarder has to flash away. Huge teamfight win from Aquinas College. As this Ocean Drake spawns, it's exactly what you want to see. Fight a little bit for that objective if you can, not while it's up so they can't turn and burn, but they're going to clear out this vision. They're going to take out some of this Drake. We're seeing a lot of work being done by Stevenator and life support, just coming together as a squad here and really putting down the hurt onto this Akuma squad. They're really kicking in this mid game. knowing some of the limits and pushing their champions to the max. This is exactly, the game plan you're willing to see, minus a few hiccups here in the early game. But once that Ezreal hits those 3 items, hits those 2 items, feels strong, hits that 3 items, and is basically invincible at this point, he's really starting to take over the game. And this tankier build for Lilia really paying off, able to get into the face, and Stevenator coming up huge with a lot of these engages, using that Predator so effectively, getting in people's face, taunting them up, coming over the wall, is able to use his ultimate to save and engage for his team. Big props to Stevenator in this game, and huge props to, as well, it's looking a little iffy there, but he's finding big sleeps, he's making people flash, making Indigo use his cleanse over and over again on cooldown, making sure always provide enough of a threat with his sleep that they don't feel comfortable on the Rift. Now, is coming through the jungle here. They might want to play for this next Drake. I think going for Baron here can be a little bit risky. You're still, moving into a few spots here. 0 actually finding the wrong end of this Baron. His keyboarder, throws a few Spheres of Darkness out onto the Baron, getting some big damage onto that, as Stevenator might be caught out by Stallion here. Giga. Protobelt isn't able to get away from that. Good. Oof. It's just getting, hit over and over by Giga, and Stallion gives that kill over to Stallion. Kind of fumbled on my words right there, because it was, kind of heartbroken for Stevenator after some of that play gets caught out at the end. But, it's Phase Rush Graves, gets tagged by the Ornn ultimate. And there's really nothing you can do at that point. So far away from his team. He's really good at helping his team engage and going through, but he really doesn't have enough mobility in his kit alone to be so far up in that side lane against Ornn. As they turn and burn onto this Baron, their damage is a little iffy. You do have Lethality Graves and you do some good damage, but Senna and Syndra aren't so great at just burning out this Baron, so it's giving them, AQ enough time to come through, as 0 just pushing onto this Brash. Motion comes in from the side. Trying to get some good damage off on here. Isn't able to really find anything in. It's really up to 0 here to get down some of this damage. They're pushing him out of here. Stevenator TPing in right onto 4 members. Big taunt by Stevenator here. Ooh, huge shutdown by Stevenator and 0. Motion still on this side. 0 flashing in onto this Senna. They're going to be trying to chase down this Ornn, but great job by Stevenator on that TP, getting able to pull off a great taunt. And 0 here on this Ezreal, pumping out the damage, doing so well here after this huge power spike. So great win from Aquinas College on these team fights. Now if they can keep looking for some of these better team fights, I think they're in a strong position for this game. 0 again, punishing out some Giga here, as Stevenator just uses Justice Punch forward. Might be in a pretty bad spot if his team's able to come through, but pushing in some of these waves. You have Dragon spawning in a minute and a half. Really trying to do the best they can here to keep them down. Now really your gold lead for Akuma really is negligible, but you have to remind yourself that ornaments, these items that Ornn can upgrade is, all of them are worth at least 1,000 gold. And how many do you have in your inventory? You have, the Infernal Mask, you have the Sunfire Cape, you have the Yomu's Death Blade, you have the Rabadon's Death Crown, and you have the Obsidian Cleaver, as well as the upgraded version of Redemption. So every single person on Akuma side has some increased stats that you wouldn't otherwise get. So they are feeling pretty comfortable in some of their fights. I think really they need to really focus on sticking as a squad, right? They're really going to be winning when you play front to back. You have the Senna in the back line, you have the Graves mid line with the Syndra, and you have Ornn and Braun just soaking up the damage. On the other side, it's really important that Motion, and 0 here can stay mobile. They don't want to get drawn into these front lines. They want to spread out the fight. They want to get them from all angles, which is why some of these river fights, it's going to be more difficult for them, as they actually take out some of these. They're just actually going down mid lane. That's a really good idea, right? Because the Drake hasn't spawned yet. They can get priority into this mid lane. They can get some damage down. If they go for the Drake, who knows? They might even get into him her. As a huge scatter of the week finds 0 here and the Galio as they come in. Zenith Blade onto this Senna, gets a huge 3-man ultimate. Coming through with the Q, finds a big sleep as they can turn this fight. They're really trying to skirmish here. Stevenator into the back line of 3. Huge taunt, Justice Punch and Gust of, Winds of War finding huge. Just, is just chasing them down. They surely won that fight after an initial scary play there. I mean, you had 0-0 motion all pushed out of the fight, but huge Zenith Blade and ultimate coming from NA life support, and Stevenator just coming through because he's about to take down Brash here. They take down this Ocean Drake, and that's Ocean Soul. It's going to be a huge gust of power. Stevenator just pushing them all the way across. Motion looking for more, isn't able to find it. Neither is but it's really, they're just continually just harassing down some of the shorter range composition of Akuma here, doing a great job of utilizing their strengths and coming together as a team. This is something that I talked to them a while before, and they said that was their strength, is team fighting, and I think you can tell right now it's looking a little bit sketchy here over on the sides and some of the lanes, but when they come together as a team, they're performing very admirably. When we're looking at League of Legends, the next thing we always have to look for is the objective, right? We want to take down those towers, we want to get Baron, we want to get Dragon. So if they take in Dragon Soul, Elder Drake doesn't spawn for 5 minutes, that's a huge team fight, presence, that can be huge, but you've pretty much secured a lot of your combat power with the Ocean Soul, getting a lot of that health regen. And now they can look for a little bit more scrappy fights, getting a little bit more aggressive if they want. They'll definitely win any fight they've already been taking. But really they want to be pushing for this Baron. The only thing they really have to look out for is Giga off of, a teleport flank at this point. But, Ornn doesn't do a great job of pushing towers. It's mostly tank build. Has the locket now, so that's going to be big here into some of these fights, getting some, a little bit of shield here for the rest of the team. But really, it's not, I wouldn't say it's really about the burst damage coming from Aquinas College to some of that consistent damage with that Lilia, with Stevenator coming out at the end. You're seeing some big bursts out of Stevenator, but most of that damage is coming out from 0-0, out of motion, out of, just consistently burning them down with the double Leandries here. A lot of Mystic shots going from this Ezreal as they get this mid lane priority and look for Baron. Looks like they're going to set up an aggressive play here, taking out that ward. And looks like they're actually just going to be back, get reset, pick up a few those wards for the Leona. Has Adaptive Helm, so he's very tanky on this Lilia. Only has 2 damage items, has that, that Runic Echoes, has the Leandries, but then you just went right into Deadman's and Adaptive Helm, so you can really get into people's faces, can skirmish heavily, get in and out of fights, set up the rest of his team for his sleeps. Which is what I think they really need, right? You have the Leona being that big engage, but with the cleanse and flashes, you burn those. What else do you have? Well, you have this Lilia just throwing out, sleeps and getting huge teamfight victories over here. As Motion looks to, push out Giga here in this 1v1. Just doing a little bit of damage. Doesn't really have any armor penetration items, so that's gonna be a little bit tough to try and fight that 1v1 here. Really needs to wait until he gets, a Mortal Reminder or some sort of Last Whisper item, as they do a 3-man squad over on this. You have Giga teleporting over here, as seen with Keyporter. Ultimating into these play. Motion actually might get caught out here. He's able to dodge the Scatter of the Weak and Brash, get some good damage onto Brash. Healing up a little bit by Indigo in the center. A little bit of an ultimate here. Big sleep by, onto Keyboarder here. Motion trying to flash in, gets taken down, has the Guardian Angel. Stevenator throwing out some of this damage. Forcing it down Giga, they're able to turn onto the Stevenator. Getting in the rest of the faces as Motion dashes around. Aquinas able to push them out for quite a bit. But Akuma doing a great job of holding the line there. Indigo putting out a few different heals. Stallion, throwing out a good smoke screen there. And Giga trying to find some engage. But really, Brash getting caught out by Stevenator here. Doesn't go down quite yet. Maybe Stevenator's the one caught out as he's separated from the rest of the team. Giga from the back. They take down Baron, but they're all separate here. Looks like they're actually going to go in. Stevenator, huge 4-man taunt here onto Akuma's side. Gets a double kill. They clean up onto Brash and Keyboarder and Stallion. And Stevenator's looking for more as, speeding across the rift, burns Indigo's flash, is trying to take him out. A little bit more damage will do it. He's able to get through, but it's actually taken down by the turret, goes too far into the base of Akuma. But Stevenator coming in huge. I thought he was getting caught out, but he was catching Akuma out himself and doing so much work on this Galio. They're pushing here for the mid lane inhibitor. They're going for a little bit more. We'll see if they go for the end here. Looks like they're having second thoughts. They're going to be pushing for this next turret. They do have a little bit of a cannon wave. They have the next wave's here. But Stevenator flashing onto Indigo gets a huge stun and bursts down onto Indigo. That's their Senna takedown. You have Giga and Brash. They might be able to hold the line. NA life support going down. Stevenator is pushing them out. Motion takes down Brash as he's getting knocked out by Giga. The whole Nexus is open. Huge taunt by here. Keyboarder tries to flash in, but Aquinas College is able to get that win, taking down the Nexus. Huge plays coming out of Stevenator here in the mid lane, really trying to carry the team on his back. Same with NA life support. I mean, we're looking at so many different members on the time of Aquinas College really stepping up. Like, yes, we have Stevenator going for some of these huge plays, but it really was NA life support finding a lot of these opportunities, burning flashes, burning cleanses, is doing so much in these fights. Same with, 00 here on this Ezreal, really working his butt off there in the mid game. He hit those 2 items and boom, that was done. He was starting to take over his fights, got a triple kill, shut down Keyboarder, who, we were talking about, he got 3 kills early, was 3-0 and 7 at one point. Was able really to switch that game around, and it was looking a little sus from Aquinas College there. We weren't able to see Motion really come online in that early game, but, you hit your item spikes. Wasn't able to abuse that matchup early, but he knew what he was doing on that champion, and they were able to team fight very effectively, burning down that front line, having Stevenator come in over top, and Travis, on this Lilia, really setting up some of these secondary engages with those sleeps. That was very beautifully done from Aquinas College here, as we move on to a little bit of a break while we set up the second client.
open eye. Feel the waves cut through me, hypnotized by the sounds I'm breathing in. Hold tight, hold tight. Chemicals collide. Hold tight, hold tight, hold tight. Dripping lights paint the skies, all because of you. Dripping lights paint the skies, only you can make me move. You can make me move.
All right, we are back and getting ready to start for game 2. We were a little late on getting that pro draft link, so we're really coming in at the end. Zillion, Lilia Ban, and the third one is actually Lucian. So Akuma really paying mad respect to the side of Aquinas Esports, using that Lilia and Lucian as really great picks here. Oh yeah, had a phenomenal game on this Lilia, and having that Lucian just as a flex pick between 3 lanes makes it very difficult to draft in some of these circumstances. We do have Graves banned on the other side. I'm gonna leave it a little bit on this screen. They're gonna start going into pick and ban phase on the client, but we do have a 3-minute delay. So we're just going to go ahead and chill out here on the pro draft. So it looks like Shen was first picked here by Akuma. Again, they use this, pretty much as a 3-way flex. They can use it as support, they use it as top, they use it as a jungle. So huge pick on that. It is going to stay on to the top side, maybe set. We do have set. It could be jungle, could be top. We have River Shen available now, thanks to Spica on TSM, really showing how to play that pick in the jungle. So we still won't know if it's Shen or set until we load into the client here in the top and jungle rules respectively. However, Aquinas responds, I think, with 2 of the huge power picks in the game right now. You have Hecarim and you have Ashe just doing so much work into some of these team fights. So I think it's so good for them to pick up these picks, especially since they're really great into some of these champions are slightly immobile, like Misfortune, like Set. And they even pick up the Thresh with it. So if they're trying to engage onto this Ashe or any of these other picks, the Thresh Lantern with the Dark Passage makes it so safe to play out some of these team fights. You can have the Hecarim dive into the backline with this Orianna, pull out a huge shockwave and fear, and then just come right out with a Thresh Lantern, and Urgot can finish it off with his ultimate as well. The rest of the draft, pretty standard, I'd say. The only thing that's a little different, I'd say, would be this Urgot. We don't see a lot of Urgot in some of these competitive play scenarios, but it's a very strong top lane pick. I think it's highly underrated. You can dominate lane. You have big team fight potential with his ultimate, with his shotgun knees, shooting across a whole team fight, hitting multiple people, and blowing up one person and pulling out a huge fear duration onto a whole enemy team if they're able to flash in. The only thing that could be a little bit risky is this Blitzcrank here for Brash. Is he able to find the right hook, maybe pulling out this Thresh while he throws out a Dark Passage? He can get a 2-for-1 special, man. He can get the Thresh and whoever he lanterns. It could be huge on the side of Aquinas Esports. So I'm excited to see what happens here. I'll switch it over to our client. We're still going to be going on to a delay, so we'll have to wait and see, but it does look like it's the Shen top lane. So it is a pretty good matchup for Urgot. I know Will Motion here has been talking a little bit about this pick here, Urgot, and actually likes it into the Shen. However, a good Shen can actually negate a lot of the Urgot damage, and what he's doing with his Twilight Shroud is able to use his ultimate very effectively and make plays across the map. So excited to see, again, some of these top lane matchup wasn't as explosive as I thought it was going to be. I was hoping for the Lucian to just put the hurt down to this Ornn, but by no means was Giga a slouch. I mean, he was pulling out this Ornn pick and doing work in the team fights early. Big TP play on this Drake, and I think, some of this Shen pick can accentuate some of those strengths even more, right? Because he doesn't have to TP to get into a fight. He can just ult. He can use his ultimate to go onto some of these other members to play more aggressively. He can put it on this set, get into the fight, and get a huge taunt off onto the enemy team. However, if we're going to go for team fight potential, Aquinas takes the cake, man. I mean, you have Ashe, the goddess of teamfight ADCs, those slows, that damage, the arrow, all the way from downtown across the map, sniping its way onto anyone she likes, and can just really set up any fights for the rest of the team. And you have the Orianna Shockwave coming in on this Hecarim. It's just an Orianna ball movement delivery system with this Hecarim here. So it can be huge work just coming from those 3 picks alone. And I think, Urgot on top, stopping, some of this set, and Shen from really trying to do some of the heavy lifting and getting in people's faces. I do really think a lot of the pressure is on Brash to find some good hooks and on Keyboarder to position correctly on his ear. I think Azir is by far one of the hardest champions to play in League of Legends. There's just different item power spikes you have to be aware of. His early game can be strong in terms of wave control, and you see Azir picked into Orianna very frequently. But really, you're waiting for, 2-3 items to really start taking over games. You can make some huge plays. We've seen, Power of Evil, Bjergsen, even Caps on Azir. Some of these players that you look at their highlight plays and, they're on Akali, they're on Silas, they're on Zoe. They can make huge plays on Azir too. So if you know your way around this champion, you can carry any fight as possible as it might seem, if you can have the right positioning, use your ultimate effectively, and place your soldiers in the right place. But he's very squishy, and if he goes in and doesn't find his ultimate, everyone flashes away or gets a dark passage, becomes immune to any CC, then he's in a world of hurt, just going to be right in the middle of that team fight, and that's not a place you want to be in the middle of an Urgot, man. Like, if that Urgot just chews you out and spits your body out, there's nothing you can do. So I think Keyboarder here is going to have to be very careful on a champion like Azir. I think a lot of the early game plan is going to be farming, man. I think it's just the onus is on Set to get Set and Brash to get some work here in the early game. Hit some hooks, have Stallion come in and get some good ganks here in the bot side of the map. That's where your point of pressure really is. But Aquinas really just wants to farm up, right? You want to hit Essence Reaver for Ashe, which is the build I assume she's going. She could. I actually do like Bork build too. Just depends on what you need from your composition. I think having more arrows is always good, but Blade of the Ruin King is going to be great into 3 tanks. You're against Set, you're against Shen, and you're against Blitzcrank. So 3 tanks hitting all those frontliners, doing percentage of maximum health. It's going to be huge. So we'll see how this all plays out. We'll see if Boris can convince Ashe to do a certain build. That is one of the things is really big in the League community right now. Obviously in League of Legends, we buy items, right? You kill minions, they give you gold, you use those gold to get items. And those items give you, stats, those sort of things. Now, the shopkeeper's name, this little guy up here, his name is Boris. So we'll see if he can sell the right items to the right people here in this game. Because I think it's going to be very important, later on. It is always something we look back on and say, oh, well, like, they should have built this, they should have built that, and we won't know what they're thinking in that moment. As they go in for a level 1 cheese invade here, oh yeah, doesn't have flash, he does have, ghost, but they're going to spot that out and place a good ward here, but looks like Brash isn't going to go for it. I was maybe looking if he was going to do a little flash hook business. Really start off the game strong, but they're not going to risk it. They're going to keep their summoners, which is, probably pretty good if you're in a lane against Thresh and Ashe. If you get hooked once or keep tagged with the volleys, it's going to be very difficult for Brash to get out of those situations. So it is, a good 5 point from Aquinas. Looks like the Hecarim here on the top side is going to just start his red. The Stallion here on the Set jungle is going to start his red as well. We're really going to be watching Stallion. I think this is the key player in this game, in this early game, to see what he can do, and in the mid game if he can pull out his ultimate correctly. Because using his ultimate onto a Hecarim who's charging in doesn't work half the time, because if the Hecarim decides to ult, he becomes immune to any CC, and the Set just gets thrown into a team fight with no damage. He doesn't want to be where it wants to be. A Stevenator and Keyboarder really just pushing for this mid lane control. Lethal Temple onto this Azir, so they are looking to team fight more. I was doing a little bit of research on Azir early. It is a lot more preference. You have some Azirs going Conquer, you have some Azirs going Hail of Blade, some going Electrocute, some going Lethal Temple, some going Comet. And from what I could tell, and from what everyone's saying, it's just comfort, whatever you be. As the Set comes in for that level 2 gank, Stevenator has to flash away And great job by Stallion. That's exactly what you want to see. Clears one camp, actually, and just goes right into the mid lane, just wraps all the way around out of that ward, and places another, ward right there, and looks for some vision to see where this Hecarim is on the jungle, and goes back to farming. The power of this Hecarim here in this jungle is really in hitting in your Trinity Force and getting your damage spikes, right? He wants to farm up pretty early, unless people are just egregiously out here. Life support misses his little flay here, and Brash steps up. We'll see if there's any hurting going on here, but they really want to be playing a little bit back or between minion waves, or else this Blitz can land a nasty hook. But as I was saying with Hecarim, he really just wants to be farming up, hit that 6, get that ultimate. His first good power point is when he gets the mana sword here. As NA life support looks for a hook, misses onto that. Brash isn't able to respond with his own hook here, so they're not going to be pulling him under the tower or Indigo getting so many damage off. But finished his clear and just looks for a little bit of a cheeky gank if he can. So onto this next crab, as Stallion here is hovering on the top side of the map. Good taunt by Giga here and Twilight Shroud, so it's hard for Motion to trade effectively. Stallion comes in from the side, gets a flash onto Motion, has to flash away. We'll see if he can line up the W. Good flash from Stallion to hit that true damage, and Giga getting some of that damage off. So Motion just caught unawares, is unable to use any of his abilities because he used them in that trade. Missing onto Giga, and Stallion just pulling off a huge gank in the early game like we wanted to see. Cole picked up by Giga. This item, after you CS 100 minions, so you get the last hit on 100 minions, it gives you a big, boost in your gold. You get some more gold and you can sell. It's a fairly worthwhile item. Looks like he's just going to be trying to farm up. Is going maybe for a cleaver here with that longsword, which is really the optimal Shen build. If you're playing solo queue or anywhere at home, what you really want to be building on Shen is Titanic Hydra first. Almost always you want to build a Titanic Hydra first. It's going to give you huge lane damage. It's going to give you good wave control, and that health is just so essential for Shen. I see a lot of people building Sunfire Cape as Stevenator is actually getting ganked here in the mid lane. We're seeing a few pings across. Stallion pushing Stevenator out of the mid lane again, really trying to get work done on that set, which is like you want to see. He has that, Stalker's Blade, so when he smites enemy champions, it slows them down. So he's trying to get some work done in the early game. Really effective here. But as we go across some of these lanes, a small CS lead for Urgot on the top lane, but it is pushing in, so hopefully we'll see Giga pick up some of that farm. But as we were saying, with some Shen itemization, you'll see a lot of people build Sunfire first. It's not worth it, man, I'm telling you, right? A lot of his damage is going to be coming from his Qs. A lot of his percentage health damage. You can get a huge burst of damage with Titanic Hydra reset if you buy that item first, and Sunfire is not going to be as effective. You'd much rather go for like a Randuin's or Thornmail. As Stallion comes here, uses Hex Flash onto Stevenator, who has no flash. Stevenator's trying to trade back in, gets pushed back, and Keyboarder secures that kill. So, triple gank onto Stevenator here on this mid lane, and Keyboarder picking up a kill, Stallion picking up a kill and assist, as is trying to get from Brash, is able to hook him through. Brash coming in with a clutch hook, TP coming out from Stevenator. Looks like they're trying to turn this around. We'll see if he can get out. There is a blast cone. They're going to just walk this out. You have the Thresh and Asp responding first on this bot lane as they were out. Looks they might go for this Drake here. I mean, they have the people. Keyboarder is back in his lane. Stallion over the side has Hex Flash, might be looking for a play. Hook onto Brash. Shockwave, can't tell if that connected as finishes that up, and Stallion comes through. The Shen ultimate's coming through. They gotta be careful. Huge taunt onto Double Zeeble and Stevenator as dives to the back lane onto Brash. Keyboarder TP's into the back as both Stevenator and go down. Does pick up a kill onto Brash into the support, but that's 2 kills onto this Misfortune in the early game. That's gonna be rough. She already has the BF sword completed on that first back, so when she goes back, she's gonna have another huge component And the Shen in the top lane, like we said, just ults to the team fight and then TP's back top. So Motion can't really get anything done into this top lane. He had to blow TP to get back into that wave after that initial gank by Stallion. So really Stallion pulling off a huge amount of work into this early game. Props to Stallion here, man. You do have, oh yeah, just farming up a little bit more. He is at 50 CS to Stallion's, 28 or 32 now. He just completed a camp, so he was pulling far ahead. He does have, the first part of his Triforce complete. That's what you'll see Hecarim's build a lot of the times. He'll just skip, the jungle item as Giga is flipped over. But as you can see, that Twilight Shroud just making him immune to those auto attacks. I'm really just managing these waves, fairly well. Is catching up on CS quite a bit. Stallion does another Hex Flash. Not really going in, and oh yeah, securing a Scuttle Crab, clearing out some vision. The thing for Aquinas, though, is we never really expected them to do much early, right? You have Motion on this top lane, Urgot. You can do quite a bit of pressure here, but you're not really looking to take over some of these matchups until the mid-late game here, right? That's where Ashe pops off. That's where Ori pops off. That's where Hecarim pops off. It's the mid-game. It's not early. That's where they're relatively weak. Which is why you want to see Stallion and Brash here on this Blitzcrank really push their lead as far as they can in the early game in order to turn it on to the mid game. So you're going to put the other team behind so much in the early game, but they can't come in until later on. By then, you've already had a surmountable lead. Unfortunately, the Drake does go down for Aquinas, which is huge. Just like that hook onto Stevenator. Full ultimate, he actually flashes away, tries to use the shockwave to get out, but again, a huge play by Brash as, oh yeah, comes in with NA life support, gets the ultimate, takes down Keyboarder. Stallion on the other side doesn't be able to get to the blast cone just in time, so he's going to pull off a huge, as actually Flash just comes up as NA life support flashes over the wall and lands the hook and secures the kill. Huge play from Aquinas Esports. Motion actually doing a great job here in the top lane, using his E right as the taunt comes through. But back to that play in that jungle, great initial play by Akuma, by Brash, landing that hook on the Stevenator, take him down. Stevenator does buy enough time with his flash, with his phase rush for to get up there and life support and 00 to respond to that play. You saw that arrow just land right onto Keyboarder and Stallion, just putting a huge amount of stun and combo potential into that fight. And Travis here on this Hecarim really pulling ahead now. He just has those 2 kills, 1 assist. Stevenator is paying a little bit early. That's to be expected. I mean, he has so much attention on him by Brash, by Stallions especially. So him going and getting 2 assists is fairly good in his pockets. It feels rough for him, but you got to know that your team is doing well on the other end and making some good plays happen. So I just want to keep cool in some of these situations, because you have to realize, even though you may be behind in that specific matchup, like, all those resources are going mid lane, right? Like, he's been ganked like 4 or 5 times. But Travis here on this Hecarim is getting a lot of gold here. And the confidence from 00 to land that first arrow, right? That's huge, right? As soon as you hit that first arrow, you're like, man, I can hit these all day. But if you miss that first one, if you miss the second one, then you're going to get stingy with those Ashe ultimates. So as long as he's hitting them, he's going to be feeling good. And as long as, NA life support is hitting those hooks, he's going to be feeling good. So those mental cues, they matter, man, because they're going to boost your confidence. They're going to make you have better plays and more plays. So looking forward to seeing how this Ashe ultimate gets used next, and what this Thresh can do with these Moby boots as he has picked them up. And we'll see if they go for this bot lane play onto this Cloud Drake, see if they try and get a little bit stacking on this Drakes to give them more time, as they're almost always going to have mid lane pressure here, because Azir is going to be and Orianna are very difficult to respond to the play. So it's like Ashe ultimate landing onto Brash. Again, they're just going to go all in on this Brash. They need to take him down before the Shen gets here. They're actually focusing onto the back line. Shen actually gets through. 00 staying alive here as Motion tries to get some work down. Good hook onto Stallion. Motion finally able to ult on the Stallion. Good ultimate by the Azir to separate the fight as Indigo tries to push through. Brash staying alive through that whole thing, and I think there's a little bit of target selection problem going on. I think once you ult onto Brash, you see that Shen ultimate coming through. Just take him down before the Shen can get there. You already have Motion TPing in. But as soon as Shen got out onto that map after ulting Brash, Giga was able to keep everyone alive, and it wasn't until Motion was able to ult and pull down Stallion for that execute that they were able to do anything. Keyboarder coming from the side, a little bit on the top hand of our screen, so we couldn't really see him respond. Having a great ultimate there, just stopping people from getting out of the river and pushing them back into the Drake. So now we have Indigo on 4 kills here. Huge onto this misfortune. Keyboarder on 2 kills, about to complete his first item here with the Nashor's Tooth. Has it in his pockets, and they're feeling really great at this point. You have this scaling mid laner, this Azir, you know, having a good power spike. Honestly, Nashor's Tooth is a big power spike for Azir, especially when he has Lethal Temple and already has Sork Boot completed, and he's already at, you know, 2 kills. He's 30 CS ahead, feeling really great. You know you're going into this mid late game in a great spot right now, especially with your misfortune on 4 kills, man. That's exactly what you want to see. As a little bit skirmish on the top side. Actually, it's going to be huge for Motion here. Hits all of his B-Blast. He's going to ult. Gets the solo kill onto Giga. Huge play by Motion. Finally showing that he can run this lane himself. And if Giga's going to keep going all over the map, Motion's going to take him down on this Urgot. So you got to be careful with that champion. Has the back cleaver completed. Is now going to get a few turret plates. Giga does have TP, so we'll probably just teleport back into here. We do have a little bit of vision contestation on the bot side. We have Stallion hiding in the alcove, making a little alcove play. You don't see too many of these, to be honest, as 00 here. Oh no, 00 lands the ultimate. Stallion's hex flashing over the wall here, and Travis is coming in with his ultimate. This is looking pretty bad for Indigo. It's really unfortunate that Keyboarder, you know, disconnected right at this time, because you want your set to be coming in through here. You want Brash to be landing this hook onto the Hecarim, so we'll see how this works out, man. It's going to get really dicey really fast. Looks like they are going to be starting up on this. We'll see what happens. You know, help me break down the play, so I don't mind, but we'll see which team comes out on top, because now each team can see what's going on in this screen, and they can make a little bit more of a decision. So 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Looks like they are just going to give it down to Indigo. Good hook onto the support. Set's just going to ult him in here. Big shockwave already actually pulls them out of the tower. 00 picking up the kill. We do have Shen on the top side of the map. Stallion picking him off. Giga getting 1 kill onto 00. Stevenator coming through else. He's taking a lot of minion aggro there. Let's see if Stevenator can take him out. Gets the last auto attack after using that ball. Stallion sticking on this bot. Let's see what he can do. Gets the stun onto Orianna. Gets the flash W. And Stevenator is taken down by Stallion. Now 5, 2, and 4 on this set. Pulling out all the stops on this early game champion. Showing you that it still works, man. Despite all these nerfs and all these shakeups. Set jungle still fairly strong if you know how to pull it off. We have Motion come through the mid lane. Brash is here too. Actually, he just somehow just ignores that ultimate. I assume he used E or something. I haven't seen that interaction ever where the Zero ultimate is just completely nullified by the Urgot E, so that's a little strange. Oh yeah, feeling very good on this Trinity Force. Man, his name is gonna kill me. Just saying yeah every single time just makes me have an aneurysm. Anyway, having this Triforce feels really good for this Hecarim. Speaking of this skirmish with these spots. Oh, Indigo here is gonna run him down. Shen actually ultimate coming through. 00 trying to get that. He's taunted up. Actually gets taken down by the skirmisher Saber, and is actually taken down by Keyboarder on this teleport. Flayed away by this Thresh. You have to be careful though. Are they gonna be able to turn it? You still have Shen down here. 00 trying to position out over here. Stallion going on to Stevenator again. Is trying to ult him back into the turret. Misses the Haymaker here. Stevenator happy to kite this out. Great job by Stallion and Stevenator here trying to play that out. Stallion actually didn't have ultimate, but that is definitely a play that he would want to do. You can see him trying to position around. He got halfway there and then realized, oh shoot, man, I don't have my showstopper, so I'm not going to be able to do anything. So he starts to go out It's essential for him not to get shut down in that play. But again, Keyboarder on this Azir coming down on the bot side of the map as Travis on this Hecarim is trying to make some of these plays. It is really showing that, you know, Azir can be a playmaking champion, right? He's 3-1 and 2, level 11, and he's doing some good work here. He does have a needlessly large rod in his inventory, so he's just going to go for that full AP build, go for that Rabadon's death cap here early, and try and take over team fights in the mid game, as Indigo has actually been shut down quite a few times. He was 4-0, it's just now 4-0-2 here, as Brash lands a nice hook onto Motion, who's going out. He actually flashes away, as again goes onto Indigo, who's trying to get away. Is show stopped by the set, who dodges the initial hook but hits an arrow from 00 as Brash lands the hook onto Thresh. They're all trying to skirmish out here. In the middle of it. MS ultimate coming through. No one's gone down yet. Excellent E-flash by this Shen, who gets eaten up from Urgot. This is just a mess as Thresh is all going through. Huge ultimate by Azir. Steven Nair trying to finish him off. Quadra kill for the Azir, but Motion and Brash are the only one left standing in this fight. Huge play by Keyboarder, by Giga, by Brash, by Indigo, by 00, by Steven Nader, by just so many things happening in this fight all at one time, but in the end, it is the Drake just, being pressured here by Aquinas Esports. Brash could steal it here. He can pop over the cone and use his ultimate. Motion doing his best to try and take this down. This is the second Drake. This is pretty good. Brash coming through. We'll see. Comes down to a final ability. And it looks like Motion finishes off Brash here and takes the Drake. Now 5-1-2 on this. Urgot has his Death Dance completed on this back. I'd imagine picked up a few kills in that last fight. Same with Steven Nader, picked up 2 kills. Travis here on this Hecarim didn't pick up a kill, but picked up a few assists. So we have the Death Dance completed by this Urgot, who's going to be a huge menace on the side lane. He's already, 34 or 33 CS up compared to this Shen. A level advantage over him. So we'll see if he can really push that weave. We have Steven Nader here on the side lane, trying to switch up some of these things, but Azir, you really want to keep him to the middle of the map, right? You want to respond to some plays, get some farm. Maybe if the side wave is pushing into him, but you want your Shen on the other side of the map so he can respond to plays with his ultimate and then take over the side lane. However, he's not going to be able to do that into the Urgot at this point, right? This Urgot has a 500 gold bounty, is huge, has that level advantage, a little bit of XP advantage now. As the Death Stance completed, is tearing out any armor with the Black Cleaver Shred. And it's just going to be a huge menace. So we'll see what they can do. Aquinas is really just going for this Rift Herald. They're going to be trying to break down this mid lane as Motion is chewing on this bot lane turret. We do have a few different items fights though, right? We had that Quadra kill coming from Keyboarder, and he has his Rabadons completed before 20 minutes. This guy in his ear has Death Cap. He has his Nashers. He has his boots. He has all these things completed with the 7 kills before 20 minutes. And you don't see that on his ear, right? Typically you see him getting a little bit down in farm. You see him getting bullied out. You don't see him making a lot of plays. But this guy is putting on a masterclass on this Azir. So really highlighting Keyboarder's performance on this pick. Same with Stallion on this set. I think they're both doing phenomenally well. Steven Nader is able to pull it back a little bit on this Orianna. I don't want to discredit any of these two teams. Even though we're streaming for Aquinas, man, we have to pay respects to anyone we play. I think League of Legends is one of those games where you can always learn from anyone in the game, whether that's opponents, whether that's your teammates, or rather just watching the game. I encourage anyone to be watching really most high-level gameplay, regardless of what team you're trying to cheer on. I think just watching League of Legends and understanding why people do certain things is really important to getting better at yourself. I mean, if you're just a fan, that's cool. You're just going to be watching anyway. No need to improve, man. We'll just try and give you a few tips as we're really just waiting for a few different objectives to come up, right? In the bottom right corner of the screen, you have the mini-map. Right above that, we have objective timers. So the one, the yellow one there is actually the next Drake. So the Ocean Drake, I haven't been doing a great job of this. But anyway, after the third Drake, it's been so long now that the new system is implemented, as Keyboarder actually sees, here, he quickly makes the decision to go out of that play, actually goes back onto Keyboarder, almost takes him out immediately. Motion missing that ultimate, Double Zero missing his ultimate as well, but Keyboarder gets in, is slammed with motion. He's trying to get through, gets taken out, and the set and the Shen putting in work, man. If they just hit that initial ultimate from motion onto the, from Urgot onto Azir, I think they take him out, right? He's already at that distance after that first engage by this Hecarim. He was low enough to get executed, but Keyboarder is able to sidestep that ultimate and then is ulted by the Shen to give him that huge shield as they're going on to Baron, and they have so much damage on this Azir. Puts up the 3 soldiers, get that bonus attack speed. As NA Life Support is hooked by Brash, you have to be careful from this blitz. As Stevenator finds a huge shockwave onto 3, but isn't able to get anything done, just doesn't have the damage yet. He has the Seraphs completed, trying to push him out across, but he just doesn't have the death cap. He doesn't have the Spellbinder. It looks like what he's building here. He doesn't have, that 3 items point where he can just eliminate 1 people, but that one play from Aquinas, just throwing the game out of control from there. They end up picking up this Baron. Akuma picks up this Baron, and now is able to pressure all these lanes. And that's especially important as this next Drake comes up, right? Because if you leave these lanes alone with Baron, then you're going to suffer. You're going to suffer, right? They're just going to be pushing down these turrets. They're going to get your inhibitors, and you can't fight them. But you want to get this next Drake, because once you hit 3 Drakes, you only need 1 more for that soul point, and that soul point gives you an immense amount of pressure. So hitting that 3rd Drake is just as important as, well, not just, but 75% important as that 4th Drake. So they're really going to be able to tie this up. I think we really have to be watching Brash here on this blitz so to land another key hook. We have this, and he does. Oh, big hook onto NA Life Support. She's pushed out, but not able to quite find that kill. We'll see if he can back, but he's actually going to be playing for Lanterns. His motion is coming in here onto this Drake as, Aquinas Esports is just eating some of these Drake shots, and Stallion and Brash are just looking for a few hooks. We have Travis on the back end. He's pinged out. They know where he's at, where he's coming. They're trying to slow him down as Double Zero finds the arrow onto Azir. The hook lands, and motion takes down Stallion here on this set. Whew. Oh yeah, come in the back. But they take out Keyboarder, the main carry on this champion. They're using Set and they're using Shen to try and save this Azir, and it just couldn't happen. As soon as they find that arrow, they throw so much damage on him, and Motion finds the perfect ultimate from this Urgot to drag in the Azir and take him out. The Shen is left there just in the dust with that Set, trying to get out of this huge fear, and they're separated from the fight. Or excuse me, he ults onto one of them, and Keyboarder actually goes onto the side, but as he's away from the rest of the fight, they just put so much damage into the rest of the fight. So really great play from Aquinas. That's what you wanted to see. I think Akuma didn't really respect the team fight power, and a lot of that the boost you get from Baron is from your minion waves, right? Just have someone push out the minion wave. As Giga is getting farmed out here, ultimates miss, the shockwave misses, Brash comes in from the side. Not really much he can do. He might be in a bad spot. Lands the hook onto, oh yeah, Set comes in, pushes him out. Travis taken down on this Hecarim. They trade 1-for-1 jungler for top laner. There's not really any objectives up right now, so I think it's fine for both sides. Both sides are fine to 4v4. You still have the pressure with this Thresh hook, and Brash though is coming through, gets the stun on the motion. Set actually also, he flashes out of the way as no one goes down in that exchange. The tower's put up. Stevenator's coming from the side, trying to just harass Keyboard, but Brash is waiting for it, misses the hook. Both hooks miss. Stevenator just trying to go through, slows them down. Sap pulls through. Dark Pashes coming on. They're just trying to run these guys down. We don't have any abilities left. Stevenator's trying to rush it through. Motion TPs from the back end. Tries to find one. Finds both. As MFS is going over with the Haymaker. Set shuts down the Urgot, but Stevenator picks up 2 on the following end as they're trying to push out for this tower here. Huge swing and momentum for Aquinas. Stevenator just running down that team, taking the Azir from full health all the way down to nothing. And Motion, with a good TP play, sacrifices himself for the greater good as they're going to be pushing for that inhibitor. And what was once a huge push for Akuma is turned around by Aquinas Esports. So here we go. That's the item power spikes we were waiting for, right? We have the Spellbinder on this Orianna. The next Shockwave can take someone out completely. It's 0-0 and Life Support are here in the struggle trying to sweep out, taking out some of these camps, stopping Stallion or Indigo or Keyboarder or Giga. Really anyone takes these camps at this point in competitive play from getting any gold. Again, on the opposite side of the map as Keyboarder tries to chase him down, but you can't really catch a Hecarim, man. He just runs away. His little pony just going so fast. Now, we're waiting, right? That's the game of League, man. We're really just waiting for these objectives. Next Drake, 2 minutes. Aquinas, they really want to play some of these side lanes. You have this mid lane pushing. You took out that inhibitor. Super minions are spawning. So start playing around some of these objectives. The next one spawning, Baron, right? You do some of your homework. What you want to do is, you want to get vision, you want to set up the objective. So that means you got to push waves first. You push out your minion waves so you can then are freed up to go and get that vision. Clear it out, place down some wards. You really have to be careful though, right? The reason why Blitz is so strong is his long range hooks. If he just hooks someone over the wall, there's really nothing you can do. I think they have enough damage at this point between the double item Azir and the double item Misfortune. If you find a good Blitzcrank hook onto one of these carries, that's it. The fight's over. Really nothing you can do at that point, right? You just play for Blitz hooks. You have that engage potential. However, Aquinas College also has the engage potential. You have the Enchanted Crystal Arrow from Ashe and Stevenator on the Shockwave, so they can just zone control, push in these waves, force the enemy team to stay in vision. They can really do some of these objectives. We actually have 0-0. I'm trying to take, I guess, that Baron. Maybe there was a little miscommunication here on whether they're going to be starting up the Baron or not. As this next Drake spawns, looks like Aquinas wants to play for this Drake, and can you blame him, man? That's Soul Point. That's Ocean Soul. That's going to be huge. Get there first. Take out that vision so Blitzcrank can't run around and get one of these hooks. Blitzcrank and the Shen, Giga on the outside, are kind of separated from the rest of the team as Motion face strikes this Blitz, who gets pulled in. He's able to E out. Motion doing really well on this Urgot, but he's trying to get to this Lantern as everyone's going across. Big Dark Passage from NA Life Support as Brash just narrowly misses that next Hulk. Looks like they're going to be coming through. As this Drake is set it up, they do have a ward on this Drake. They can try and push it out, but Giga's on the other side of the fight. Hook lands by NA Life Support. Giga might just be taken out before any of this goes through as, oh yeah, takes him down. Drake's all the way down to half. Stallion going to try and get through on this. Doesn't have his ultimate enough. Shockwave doesn't find anybody. Keyboard almost going down. Gets slain by 0-0. And Set taking down, yeah, but it's just a mess. Motion in the thick of it all, taking them all within, a quarter of their health and 0-0. Just taking them out. You see him flash into the rest of the fight. You see Stevenator TP into the base. They're not even go for Dragon Soul. They're just going to go for the rest of the game. They're just hitting out these towers. They know that the ace means the win. It's exactly what you should do. Focus on the bigger objective. They burn these turrets, and they're going to take down the Nexus as Aquinas Esports takes their first series win in Risen League. Huge props to both these teams. I mean, we saw Stallion doing so much work in the early game here, pulling off multiple ganks. He ganked mid lane like 3 times. He had a huge gank to the top lane, allowing them to make a huge play for that first Drake. They lose the first Drake, but they pick up 4 kills. This Azir gets really ahead, and Keyboarder was able to do a huge amount of work, but I mean, that's some of the nature of these champions is if you're in the wrong position, you're just going to get caught out and die. They're so hard to play. And Keyboarder was playing that very, very well, but Aquinas Esports just had a few more tools that they could use. Like you have Ashe and Hecarim and Orianna and Thresh. They have multiple ways of locking down the enemy team and and really turning fights around with some of those lower cooldowns. And this Hecarim was able to get into the midst of the fight, was really able to dive that backline and do a tremendous amount of damage with this Urgot and Ashe and Orianna all providing support, and Thresh making sure not to go too far into these fights. I do have to give credit to Akuma, though, right? This was not an easy series. This was back and forth, over and over and over again. And these are the games we love to see in any league. We love to see a great competition, because that means both sides are going to improve after this game. I'd like to really, thank Akuma Esports for some of the competition, for some of the excellence that they've done here. A great job for Aquinas on this win. And if we're going to do an MVP series, who do you think it's going to be? My money here in this game, or let's do the full series, right? What do we think, Chad? MVP. Who really got the ball rolling? Let's give it between three. We have Stevenator, we have PJR, 00, and we have any life support. We can't discount our supports, guys. They do most of the work for us in the early mid game, and they set up a lot of engage. Honestly, I think we have to give it to 00 here, man. Motion did look good in game 2. He was taking over the game, man. And Stevenator popping off in game 1. I think he hard carried that. 00, though, was pumping damage on this Ezreal, on this Ashe, setting up some of these picks. I think you could make a good contestation for Stevenator, though, right? He got behind early, but he really popped off onto some of these team fights. And that game 1 completely taken over the game. Really impressive outcome from Aquinas Esports. So we're not going to give it to anybody, but, we're going to jump in call after, and we're going to talk about it. We might post something on Twitter. So we'll see how it goes. Thank you all for tuning in, and we will see you guys next week. Look on our Twitter to see when our notifications. We do stream Rocket League as well as Overwatch, so go ahead and give a follow to the rest of those guys. Thank you so much for tuning in.